As we all know, behavior change has now been accepted as the scientific requirement to achieve a good level of sanitation in the country, particularly in the area of toilet construction, access, usage, and sustainability. Overall, we are talking about an open defecation free village or block or district, state, and finally an open defecation free country by October 2019. For this, the toilets have been there in the past as well, and they can be constructed in larger numbers, but that doesn't solve the problem. We need to have people who understand the importance of toilet usage and having the habit not to go out to the open to defecate. And this must come across all types of population. Population who are old, who are young, who are children, men and women, people who are in middle class or even higher Chileans who have toilets at home but still for some reason don't use it, and those who are new users for whom the toilet facility was not there but they have been recently provided. This also can go across all types of literacy levels, education levels, and social and economic levels. So, those who are engaged in promoting a behavior of stopping open defecation or a behavior of toilet usage, they must know with whom they are dealing at a particular point of time in a village and in a particular community. What are the mental barriers that these people might have for not going for use of toilets? What are the provocations that they have for going out to the open to defecate? It could be in a country like India, which is so complex and socially so heterogeneous, and people are so different from state to state, district to district, village to village. The regions could be varied. These regions could be because they do not have adequate information, they do not have adequate facilitation. Most importantly, perhaps they do not have motivation. If we do not bridge these barriers, it's likely that even if a toilet is at hand, it may just be not used or used for some other purpose. We are having stories of this in the past, and those stories are not completely gone. Even once in a while, we are coming across reports that toilets are there which are not being used. So how do you deal with this issue of changing human behavior? As I always felt that toilets are basically constructed in mind. It is only the steel, cement, bricks which are rolled on the ground. So it's basically the whole issue of sanitation, to stay clean, to have your environment clean, to think of a clean surrounding, clean home, clean street, is something that has to be dealt in mind. Because I do not think that people do not know that it's a healthy practice. They know it. There is awareness, but the behavior change is a little more complex. Perhaps the managers, the heads of programs, the implementers on the ground, everyone needs to know what triggers a particular community. Is it the life and health issues of children? Is it the dignity and security issue of women? Or is it something which is shame for communities or for individuals? Is it something which relates to fear? or is it something which is an incentive or disincentive? What exactly triggers a particular set of people? That's what we call triggering. When our motivators go and speak to people in a community, they want to trigger the mind, trigger that particular aspect about which a community is concerned. Mostly we find it is the health and good development and well-being of individuals, families and their children which triggers people. But they must have a clear understanding of what they are going to gain out of it. Finally, human beings or individuals or communities act when they find that there is something in this action, in the action of constructing and owning and using a toilet, in which they have something directly to benefit from. That's what we are engaged, and generally it has been found that more of interpersonal communication. If there are people who are close by, we call them family members, opinion leaders, motivators, people who are community leaders in the villages, or someone whom individuals trust in their immediate surrounding. When they speak to them, when they whisper into their ears, when they sit down in the evening at a time which is comfortable for them to hear, listen and observe, then there is an impact. We call it interpersonal communication. We call it behavior change communication. But this is anything that leads to behavior change is a sustained and a piece of hard work, as different from something called a media campaign. Media campaign has its own utility because media also works as a reminder, as an environment builder, which makes a contribution to behavior change. But the long-lasting and permanent behavior change happens by closely working with the community, staying with them, sitting among them, talking to them, giving clarification, explaining to them. That's what we are trying to do in Swachh Bharat Mission on the rural side. Because we must also be conscious of the fact that the villages compared to urban areas do throw up another level of challenge, because there is more of illiteracy issues, more of deprivation issues, more of age-old traditions and rituals. There are more of mental barriers because of the situations of their life, and people have difficulties in their life. So how a rural community, a village, has to be geared as a community towards owning, accepting and using a toilet. It's in this case, the individual and the community behavior are both linked. But it is our experience that as communities, they acquire a new behavior more easily. They manage to do it well together. So the focus in our program is on the community behavior change, because if a large number of population, including the community leaders, are motivated, do take a path, everyone joins in. So we are just on this path, and I'm sure by maintaining a community approach to behavior change, by applying proper scientific tools which are based on proper research and survey about the barriers that are in mind, by a timely synchronization of the supply and demand factors, and by continuously working on the community minds and community psychology, it should be possible to achieve the open defecation free status and a good level of solid liquid waste management and a very high level of sanitation, even in challenging situations of the various states and our whole country, within the time and within the goals which have been set under the mission.